All right, hello, everybody. This is Jim Howard with Trinity Security Allies. I hope we're going to give you a second to come on. We have a great show tonight, great webinar training. Let me say this. This really isn't a show. This is all about training. And we have a fantastic training event that's happening tonight. We're going to talk in a minute to Julie Workman. And she is a very dear friend of ours. We were able to you for right now meet her through a friend. We're gonna go live, and we started talking, and we just lost her. You there? She would like to come down. I'm speaking at our conference. Just talk a little bit about you, and then bring you on. Okay. And it was an incredible testimony. You all right? We're gonna try to get that.
Sounds
we have
good.
that video. Okay. We're gonna try to get it up online so that people can see it. But tonight, instead of talking about what happened on November the 5th, all right, let's broadcast. When a lone gunman came into their church, the First Baptist Church. Hello, everybody. This is Jim Howard with Trinity Security Allies. I hope it was all over with 26 people. We're going to give you a second to come on. Julie was. We have a great show tonight. Plus her two sons that are training. Let me say this. This really isn't a show. One of her sons is all about training twice, and we have a fantastic training event that's happening tonight. Waist down. We're going to talk in a minute. I really Julie Workman kind of want to go. She's a very dear friend of ours. What happened at that point right there? We were able. What I want to talk about tonight. Meet her through a friend of because I don't think we talk about that enough. We started talking. And so I'm going to bring Julie on to come down, and we're going to speak. I'm going to ask her a couple of questions, and I'm going to let her do most of the talk last year, and then at the end we'll open it up for questions and answers. We have that. Please go to the Q&A online. That's where Wendy is monitoring everything. But tonight, and then instead of talking about we'll go from there. But we have a couple of announcements also. When a lone gunman came into their church, there's a lot going on. Baptist Church. So right now, I'm going to bring on Julie Workman. And before it was all over with, 26 people had been killed and 20 were injured. Julie was. Julie, go ahead and turn on one of the ones injured, plus her two sons that were at church.
There you go.
All right, great. One of her sons was shot twice and is paralyzed. From his waist down. Like I said, like I started out with this, a lot of people really want to hear about the shooting. But what they don't know is what happened, the shooting, and what happened at that point right there. And I think that is so important tonight because recovery. Because I don't think we talk about that enough. I think that, and so I'm going to bring Julie on scenario, and we're going to just like any other couple questions, and I'm going to let her do most of the talking to me, and then at the end we'll open it up for questions and answers. So please go to the Q&A. That's where Wendy is monitoring. What we don't understand is the aftermath. Because we'll go from there. But your son, we have a couple of announcements also. Twice, so please stay tuned. And there's a lot going on. And started doing so right triage. Now, he spoke to you, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I told you what I was reading. So anything that I say wrong here, I want you to Julie, go ahead and turn on your video. It's not letting me do it on this side. You went into triage.
There you go.
And then, all right, great. What happened when paramedics got there? So kind of follow up from there. Like I said,
went into triage mode, and yes,
a lot of people
identified several
about the shooting.
Of our church members.
But what they
were
don't
dead.
know is what happens afterwards.
Was able to
I think that is so important.
Help several others with Gunny speaking to me, and I think Gunny says he doesn't remember speaking to me,
just like
so
any other
we take it that God spoke to me that day.
To me, this will never happen.
But then when the paramedics and everything,
when something like this does
the police, paramedics,
what
EMTs,
we don't understand is
when everybody started coming in to
because
help, that's
Chris,
when chaos started to happen.
Was hit twice. And
because
you got up and started
they had
doing
never
triage.
seen
He spoke to you,
anything,
if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, because
to the
I told you what I was
devastation that they saw.
So anything that I say wrong here, I want you to correct me.
And even with all of their training, it still was a shock to them as they entered the door.
When paramedics got there, kind of follow up from there.
So everyone did the best they could. Went into triage mode, and yes, was alive, identified several ambulances and of our church members were dead. Life helicopters, and was able to get the appropriate care after that. Help several others with Gunny speaking to me, and I think Gunny says he doesn't remember speaking to me, so we take it that God spoke to me that day. Many of them that went by ground. But then when the paramedics, a lot of things that were taking place on the ground as paramedics were EMTs, putting ambulances, when everybody started coming in to help, was a lot of chaos investigation to trying to find out because what exactly they had never seen anything, who all was involved, and to the devastation that they saw. And so a lot of, even with all of their training, it still was a shock to them as they entered the door. Swarmed us, and anybody who could speak, everyone did the best they could. They were asking to get everybody that was alive out and into ambulances, and into, for me, one of the stressful things, helicopters, that I knew that my get the appropriate one son was that. Across the Sutherland Springs is about 40. I was told he was miles from the nearest other son was being transported. So that was a long travel, but yet they wouldn't let me leave the ground. Many of them that went by ground. And I still to this day not sure how accurate or inaccurate that statement was under all of the adrenaline and all of the lot of investigation and trying to find out what exactly leading to the hospital and who all was involved.
I was going to ask,
and if there were even
your
other
husband
people
wasn't
involved. He was not there. So he was. We live 7 miles away from the church. He made it to the church probably in 4 minutes. Swarmed us, and anybody who could came upon. They were asking all of the chaos and tragedy that was taking place. One of the stressful things, and even with all of his training, has been fire chief. One son was across the first responder. Was I was told he was okay. He'd been to many car wrecks and accidents, being transported to the hospital. And tragedy wouldn't let me leave the ground until I gave a written statement. And so, just like it was, and I still to this day am not sure how accurate or inaccurate that statement was under all of the adrenaline and all of the stresses.
You were not able to go with Chris. They required you to stay there.
So getting to the hospital.
Well, no. All the people that responded, family members. Now, your husband wasn't there. Friends, all those things like that.
He was not there. He was. They had to we live 7 miles away from the church.
They could not come into the church.
He made it to the church probably in 4 minutes.
This is total chaos.
And so
what
came
did y'all
upon
do to decide where
all of the,
like the rally point? What was the rally point?
Chaos and tragedy that was taking place. I'm not sure which of the officers has been fire chief for 20 years. And somebody made the decision to open up for many years, which he'd been to many car wrecks and accidents from the church, and started moving. This was family members down to the community center, and so just like it was. Then they realized that everybody, so many family members were coming that day. That even the community center.
Now you said you were not able to go with Chris.
Everybody that was now
required
swarming
you to stay there.
Away from the crime scene, to where they could
all the people
get
that responded, family members,
we had
friends, all those things like that. Now
pastor from down the
road
had
to go to a specific
whose
location.
Wife also was a nurse.
They could not come into the church. You have
offer their church
like you're talking about
to be the site where.
So what did y'all do to decide where, like the rally point? What was the rally point that y'all used to go to?
I'm not sure which of the officers they moved a little farther. Somebody made River Oaks Baptist Church open up, and they ended up moving which is 2 blocks from the church, the judges, and started moving family members down to the community center, down to that church. And then they realized that so many, like I said, about 3 family members were coming that even the community center. Everybody would not hold everybody that was now swarming the investigative away from the crime scene, to where they could get information. Call family members to come to the church. For pastor from down the road, whose wife also was a nurse, offer their church to be the site where
have them go to the staging area.
The police and crime victims. And I thought I had that off. Sorry.
That's all right.
Identify persons.
They had them come
They
back.
Moved a little farther. Right. It's River Oaks Baptist Church.
How long were they
ended up moving the primary
last
site
family
for the last family. And, actually, because I got a phone call identification down to that church. And then Katie Quinney, churches, about 3 miles away. We had worked together at a previous hospital, and she knew my number, and our kids had gone to school together. So she actually called me at 2:30 in the morning because they had one person that they could not identify, and then they would we tried family members to come to the church, and I was coming home identification from the hospital at that time, and told her if she needed me to come and identify that person,
they have them go to this.
I was on my way.
Staging area, and then you said
but by the time I had gotten home, which was about 3 o'clock in the morning, she called back and said that it had been taken care of.
They had them come back.
They worked the scene, right? You know,
now,
correct.
How long were they in
11:30,
the last
11:30, 12 o'clock till 3
the
last family, actually, because
now,
I got
the pastor,
a phone call,
Frank, and I hope I say it right, Pomeroy,
Katie Winnie,
was not there.
We had worked
he was
together
at a black
previous
powder
hospital, and she knew
training
my
or something
number,
like
and
that. His wife was over here in Miami, wasn't it?
She actually called me at 2:30 in the morning,
and so he drove
because
down.
they had one person that they could not
flew back.
identify.
So what happened the day after? Do you remember the day after?
We tried to talk over the phone, and I was coming home. I remember, I'll say, not sleeping that night, and about 7 o'clock in the morning, she needed back up to go to the hospital, identify that find out that Chris had been taken back into surgery. But by the time I had gotten home, which was about 3 o'clock in the morning, she called being a nurse and understanding what goes on behind the scenes, and after surgery was kind of let in to different persons. 11:30, the 11:30, that I 12 o'clock reports back to the family, because the doctors were so very busy.
Frank,
a lot of them,
and I hope I say it right, Pomeroy,
were going in surgery after surgery.
Was not there. He was at a black powder
and when
training or something like that. His wife was over here in Miami, wasn't it?
Then I kind of went and became the liaison
and so he drove
the
down,
medical teams,
and she flew back. So what happened the day after? Do you remember the day
17 after? Total in the hospital. That at Bampsey, I remember, I'll say, not sleeping that night, and about 7 o'clock in the morning, getting back up to go to the hospital to find out that we're somehow been taken back into surgery. But I would be going, and at that point, and that work gave me, being a nurse and understanding comfort, what goes on behind the scenes, and trying to tell families who had little medical knowledge to different what was going on with their family members. Realm that I could
see, the church was blessed
back to the family.
You were there to help out
because the doctors
in a situation
were so very
like
busy.
That, because that's rare. That's probably rare that happens.
We're going in surgery after surgery, and it was rare. Even Bampsey kind of said, you're not supposed to be back here for confidentiality. The family had questions. Under these circumstances and everything that's going on between the medical teams, and they bent the rules a little.
Well, I would hope so.
And they had an understanding that we were a church family. Bampsey, not just individuals and somebody sticking their nose into individuals. 7 and 10 or 8 and 9 were somehow
Frank gets home,
the
Sherry
numbers.
gets home.
But
of course, they've lost a daughter,
and correct. And
half
and
their
that work
congregation,
gave me,
in a sense,
I'll say, peace and comfort.
So what did the church decide to do, though?
And trying to tell the families who had little medical knowledge what was going on with their family members. Frank, we had a
the church was
associate pastor
that you were there to help out
a little farther down
in a situation like that, because that's
City.
rare.
And
that's probably
he
rare.
knew many of the
like
family
that.
members, because he was here for probably 10 years. And it was rare. Even Bampsey kind of said, you're not supposed to be back here for confidentiality and to support the family. Under these circumstances and everything that's going on, they allowed until Frank was done with him.
I would hope
we
so.
also had an understanding that we were a church family. They had members and deacons, not just who individuals and somebody sticking their nose into individuals' business. And actually,
so Frank gets home, Sherry gets home. Of course, they've lost a daughter
today,
and
helping
half their congregation, in a sense,
the founders and the pillars.
So what did the church decide to do, though? What did they decide to do?
Frank and Sherry felt like this was an end to their church, and they had no idea.
We had a previous associate
what they were going to do.
what
Who had moved,
God
had
farther
down
to Karn
Frank
City.
tells us as he went and
he knew many of the family members,
his members here in hospital,
probably 10 years or
that
more.
each one of them
And,
actually encouraged
so he came
him
to support Frank
and
and
realized
support
that
the
he
family.
still had a remnant.
His church
of
gave
the church,
actually told him
and
he
the
was
church
fired until
probably
Frank was done with him.
And then we also had some
like
surrounding
Baptist Mission
churches
Board
who,
and just
all
they had
sorts
members and
of
deacons who
support and help
felt a
from
need
all
and
different
a calling
directions
to come see what they could do.
come in
And actually
help us.
several of
They
those
set out
are still with our
if you'd
church
have seen
today.
the outside of the
Helping,
church.
there were
The founders and the
huge,
pillars of what was going to happen
18-wheelers and
next.
buses and
Command
I know
centers
Frank
and
here
Sherry
for a week
felt
to
like
10 days.
this was an end
and
to their
would just,
church, and they had no idea
call in and
what they were going to do,
and give us
God had
support
planned.
and how they could help and what they could
But
do.
Frank tells us
It
as
was
he
just-
went and
it was overwhelming and
visited
incredible.
his members in the hospital
To see
that each one of them
the support
actually
from
encouraged
just
him
everywhere,
and realized that he still had
Frank,
a remnant
like
of
I
the
said,
church.
decided
The
that
church
he did
could
still
probably,
have a church.
go
He wasn't
on.
sure what it
And
was
then
going
we
to look
had,
like or
like
or
the Baptist Mission Board,
if it was
and
just going to be this
all
small
sorts
group
of
that had support
survived,
and help from all different
directions.
But as you see, I will say, as you'll
come
see,
in, and
this
help
church,
us.
we
They
had
set out a
86
if you'd have
members.
seen
I
the
had to
outside
go
of the
through
church,
our membership.
there were
role
and
huge
decide
18-wheelers and
who
buses
was members
and
command
do
centers
account
and
here
and
for,
see where we
for a
started.
week to 10 days.
We had 86
and
members.
would just,
We lost
call in and
26.
and
give
so
us
that took us,
support
and how they
numbers
could help
way
and what they
down.
could do. It was just,
And
it was overwhelming and,
we
and
just said,
incredible.
okay, this is
ground and
to see,
foundation,
looking
for
for
God's
support
direction as to what He
from
wanted
just
next.
everywhere.
With
Support from
Frank,
all over
like
the
I said,
place. It was absolutely
decided that
incredible.
he did still
Um,
have a church. He wasn't sure what it was going to look like.
Well, you
or-
brought up an
or,
interesting statement there
if it
about
was
support groups.
just going to be this small group.
You didn't have
that
any of these support
survived.
groups really planned.
No, but as you see,
I mean,
will say, as you'll
I'm
see,
saying this.
this church,
Huh?
we had,
God sent them.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm
86
saying this
members. I
as
had to go
in,
through,
we don't think
our
of these
membership,
things because
role
in this
and
type,
decide,
you were talking about
who was
when the
members
paramedics, the first
and do
responders, the
account
police got to
and
the
see
crime
where we
scene.
started.
It was worse than anything that
We
they'd
had
ever
had
seen.
86 members.
Everybody in
We
there,
lost,
I can't even imagine it.
26.
Like I said,
So that took us,
studied it, read it,
numbers
all these
way
different things like
down.
that. I can't even
And,
imagine what they walked into.
we
Having
just said,
been
okay,
to
this
crime
is
scenes and things like
ground and
that,
foundation.
never like this.
Looking for
But,
God's direction as to what He wanted
I
next.
think that what churches don't realize is that you're going to have to have
all over the place.
support
It was absolutely
afterwards.
incredible.
You cannot walk this alone. I really enjoyed the story about
you brought
the
up
pastor
an
with the
interesting
previous
statement
pastor
there about
how his
support
church
groups.
fired him and told him,
Mhm.
go down there and
You
help
didn't have
out.
any of these support
And
groups really
he's
planned.
kind of influential
No.
in what happened.
I mean,
I'm saying
church
this,
building.
huh? So can you tell me a little bit
God
about
sent
that?
them.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm saying
The
this
old church
as
building?
in,
Yes,
we
where
don't
the-
think of these
yes.
things because in this
Mark,
type, you were talking
they
about
kind of,
when
God
the
gave him
paramedics,
a
the first
vision,
responders, the
and
police
he
got to the
used
crime
that
scene.
vision
It was worse
to
than anything that
create
they'd ever seen.
is currently
Everybody
the
in there,
memorial.
I can't even
We
imagine
don't
it.
know,
Like I
for
said,
how long that will
studied
be
it,
there.
read it, all these different things like that.
We're waiting
I
for
just, I
God's
can't even
answer,
imagine what they walked
as to
into.
whether
Having been to
it
crime scenes and
stands,
things like
but,
that,
they
never
came
like
in
this.
biohazardly and
I think that what
cleaned
churches
everything,
don't realize
took
is that you're
everything
going to have
completely out and
support
whitewashed,
afterwards.
the
You
entire
cannot walk
church.
this alone.
Now, I understand
I
that
really
this
enjoyed
little
the
country
story
church
about
from the
the pastor
outside
that
was a
with the previous
whitewashed
pastor,
little
how his
wooden
church fired
country
him and
church
told
with,
him, go down there and
old
help
stained
out.
glass windows in it.
And he's kind of
Um,
influential in
It has
what
brought a lot
happened
of
with the
peace to
old
some
church building.
people, and
So can you tell me a little bit about that?
others, the old church building, it
Yes,
hasn't.
where
Yeah,
it happened.
yes, and again,
we
Mark,
looking for God's direction,
kind of
as to
God gave
whether
him a vision
that remains,
and
or
he
we
used
turn
that
it into
vision
a
to
garden.
create.
There's
Currently
the
a song
memorial.
out that talks about God
We
making
don't know,
graves
for
into
how long
gardens,
that will
and
be there.
we don't
We're
know if
waiting
that's our
for God's
plan.
answer,
But
as to whether
no decisions are ever made lightly.
They came in,
We look for God's direction
biohazardly and
all of
the decisions,
cleaned
but
everything, took everything completely out,
people
and
whitewashed
the memorial,
the entire church.
The
And I
memorial
understand
has
that
brought
this
them
little
come
country
to know
church
Christ,
from the
to
outside was a
rededicate their lives to
whitewashed
Christ,
little wooden
and,
country church with,
as my son
old
says,
stained glass
many
windows in
times,
it.
if this is what God needed in order
It
to
has
bring
brought a
even
lot
one
of
person to
peace
salvation,
to some
then
people, and
it's
it's done its
others,
job. And,
it hasn't,
we're okay with it.
and again, we were
God's
looking
will
for
and
God's
plan.
direction as to
Whether
but
that
yes,
remains,
Mark
or
had
we turn it
connections
into
that
a garden.
say we did not
currently
have
a
before,
a song
out
he
that
called
talks
in
about
those
God
connections,
taking,
and when
making
he
graves
called them
into gardens.
there was never a
And,
hesitation or
we don't know
or a
if that's
no.
our plan.
Whatever you
But
need, we'll do it.
no decisions are ever made lightly.
Incredible when
we
we
look
look
for
for
God's
God's
direction,
direction
to hear so
in-
many
in
people
all of the
say,
decisions.
"What do
But,
you need?
If I can
If you
provide
know,
it,
I've heard people
it's yours, it's
say
done.
that the memorial
and,
has brought them peace.
the
And
memorial
it's the
has
same way
brought
with
them
to
come
those
to
who
know
had
Christ,
needs in
to
their
rededicate their
homes,
lives to Christ.
and
Had,
as my son says,
as far as
many
wheelchair
times, if this is
accessibility,
what God needed,
those that
in order
have had
to bring
difficulty
even one
walking,
person to
needing ramps
salvation,
to their
then
homes, and
it's
any
done its job.
changes, people were just
there,
willing
were
to
okay
help
with it.
and willing to
So,
provide.
God's will and
like I
God's
said, it was
plan.
overwhelming.
But yes,
the
Mark
love
had
that's been poured
connections that
So we
say
have
we did not have
20 survivors
before,
at the
and
church.
he called in those connections,
Your
and when he
church
called them
now
in,
has grown
there
to
was
what
never a
then?
hesitation
Because
or
you were talking
or a
about like
no.
90, and then you had to take out the
Whatever you
ones that
need,
weren't there anymore.
we'll
But
do
now
it.
what has happened?
And
What has
that
happened now?
we are
incredible
almost
when
had 300
when there's
members
a tragedy
to the
church.
to hear so many people
Church
say,
has reached out.
"What do you need?"
Beyond our,
I
I can provide it. Our church always reached
yours,
out
it's
beyond
done,
its Sutherland Springs borders, because
and
it's the same way with
so you go back
to
those
old
who've had
history
needs
and
in their homes.
Highway 87 is the old
had,
Chisholm Trail, and there's like a city every 7
wheelchair
miles.
accessibility.
Those that have had
So
difficulty
like our youth
walking,
group, we're
needing
combining
ramps
kids
to their
from
homes.
Stockdale,
7 miles
any-
up the road.
any
Lavernia, 7
changes,
miles up the road.
people
Floresville,
were
a little
just
farther than
there,
7 miles,
willing
but,
to help and willing to provide.
The kids came,
It
and this
don't-
was
like
like
I said,
the
it was
central
overwhelming.
hub. If they
Just the
wanted
love
to be
that's
in
been
church
poured out.
or
So we
to
have
meet other people.
20 survivors at the
And
church.
so now our church,
Your church
we've got
now
members
has
from San
grown to
Antonio.
what
We
then?
have members from
Because
Universal City.
you're talking
These
about
are
like 90,
30
and then you
minute
had to take out the ones that weren't there anymore. But now what has
come to
happened?
church.
What has happened now?
We
because
are
they've
almost have
seen
300
God at
members
work,
to the church.
seen the
church
love
has
that we
reached
have,
out beyond our
at the
church. Our church always reached
it's
out beyond its
overwhelming and
Sutherland
incredible.
Springs borders, because let's say you go back to old history, and
So this weekend,
Highway 87
coming up
is
this
the old
weekend,
Chisholm
you've got a
Trail,
special
and there's
event. You
like
want to tell
a
me about
city
that
every
special
7
event?
miles.
Stephen
So,
Williford,
like our
who is
youth group,
known
we're
as the
combining
good guy
kids
with the
from
gun,
Stockdale, 7
who,
miles up the road. Lavernia, 7
helped
miles
stop
up the
the
road.
shooter,
Floresville, a little farther than 7 miles.
has put
But,
together
with
kids,
the kids came,
all of
and
the
this was
many
like the central
blessings
hub.
that he has
If
had.
they wanted to be in church, or
who he has come
to meet
across,
other people.
are putting together
And so
a
now our church
fundraiser for Chris.
We've got members from San
to
Antonio.
help
We have
build
members
him
from
a
Universal City.
handicap
These are 30
ADA
minute
accessible home.
drives.
He currently
to
lives
come
in a
to
mobile
church,
home that
because
has
they've
been
seen
adapted,
God at work,
but
and seen the love that we
it hasn't
have,
been
like at the
it's
church.
been adapted for
It's
floors and the
overwhelming
bathrooms,
and incredible.
but
Shelves and countertops and things like that.
So this
have not been
weekend,
changed
coming
for
up
him.
this weekend, you've got a special event. You
So,
want to tell me about that special event?
Stephen has come across so many people.
Stephen Williford, who is
and
known
others
as the good guy with
likewise
the
that have-
gun.
How can we help? We still want to
help
help.
stop the
And,
shooter?
This
has
is
put together
one of our greater
with,
needs because Chris
all
is
of
the
the
only one
many
that is
blessings
paralyzed.
that he has
Everybody
had,
else still
and
has
contacts,
many injuries
who
and
he has
things
come
to
across,
overcome.
are
But
putting
Chris is the only
together
one that's in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Fundraiser for Chris.
so
So
we
to
will
help build
be
working
working
to
to
have a
handicap
fundraiser. We're having a barbecue
accessible
dinner. They're
home.
having an auction.
He
They're having all
currently lives in
sorts
the mobile
of
home
fun
that,
stuff that we
has
do
been
down here
adapted
to help raise money
but,
to build him a house. It hasn't
So
been
if people
quite-
wanted to help out,
it's
how
been
can they help
adapted
out?
for
the floors and the bathrooms.
I'll say
but,
donations can go. Let me check my
shelves
phone
and
because Chris gave me
countertops
the
and
link.
things like that.
Have not been changed for him.
So,
One of the groups that is helping Stephen has
is
come
the,
across so many people
is the Military
and
Wounded
others
Warriors
likewise
Support
that have-
Foundation.
How can we help? We still want to
They're
help.
actually going to be
And,
helping
with, I believe, the
this is
physical building
one of
of
our
his
greater
house.
needs.
Because
And
Chris
then
is the
if
only
you
one
want
that is
to go
paralyzed.
online and
Everybody
look at auctions
else still
and
has
all the fun
many
stuff,
injuries and things to overcome.
in that
but
aspect,
Chris is
you go to
only
the
one that's in a
Facebook link.
wheelchair.
Okay.
And,
I'll get those from you.
so we will
I'll
be
have you
working
text them to me
to
or
have
email
a
them to Wendy
fundraiser. We're
when we
having
get
a
finished here
barbecue
because I want
dinner.
to
They're
make sure that
having
we
an
post
auction.
them
They're having all sorts of
to everybody out
fun
here and
stuff
on
that
our
we do
Facebook
down
page.
here to help
And
raise money.
of course, you
to
know
build
that we're
him a
coming.
house.
So
Yeah.
if people
Leaving
wanted to
tomorrow
help
morning early.
out, how can they help out?
Excited.
The last thing, because like I
I'll say
said, I don't
donations
think
can
a
go.
lot
Let
of
me
people
check my
understand
phone
the
because Chris
recovery.
gave me the link.
And everything that every
Um,
time I've ever talked to you, every time we've ever had a conversation, every time
one of the
you
groups
spoke
that is
for us,
helping is
the main theme is Jesus Christ.
is the
and his
Military
love.
Wounded Warriors
And
Support
I've just,
Foundation.
like I said, out of the 20
They're
people
actually
that
going to be
survived,
helping with, I believe, the
you
physical
grew
building
to
of his
300.
house.
You know,
And then if you
because
want
of just the love of
to go
Christ.
online
And
and look at
I
auctions
never
and all
hear
the fun
anybody
stuff
from your group, your organization,
in
your
that
church, or
aspect,
anything
you
like
go to the
that,
Facebook
that have
link.
said, okay,
Um,
I'm not ever coming back.
I'm
I'll get
sure
those
there's
from
people
you
there that still have a lot of,
I'll have you text them to me or email them to Wendy.
I mean, I know
when we
I
get
do
finished here because I want to
from
make sure
my
that we
history.
post them.
So I know that there are times
to
when
everybody out here
we
and
have
on our
those
Facebook
moments,
page, you know,
and
that it just
of course,
stops us.
you know that we're
But
coming.
we always
So,
continue
yeah,
to
we're leaving
know
tomorrow
that
morning
Christ
early,
is there for us,
Excited.
and he's leading us.
The last
And
thing,
so
because
for a
like I
church
said,
to
I don't
recover
think a
after
lot of people
such
understand the
a
recovery.
devastating
and
and everything that every
is
time
such a
I've ever
truth
talked to you,
that,
every
you know,
time we've
test of
ever
faith,
had a conversation, every
encourage,
time you've
and
just
spoke
showing
for us
how much
y'all
the,
love
the,
God
the main theme
and how
is
much
Jesus
God truly
Christ
loves
and his
y'all.
love. And I've just,
One of
like
the
I
other
said,
things I'd
out
like
of
to
the
say,
20
Jim, too,
people that
that's been very
survived,
important.
you
And some
grew.
of us,
You grew to
I would say,
300.
hesitated
You
and,
know,
and thought that we
because
were,
of just the love of Christ.
we
And
knew
I
already.
never hear anybody
But
from your group, your
counseling
organization,
is
your church, or
so
anything
very
like that,
important
that have said,
in the
I'm
healing.
not ever coming back.
We
I'm for
have
sure
gone
there's people there
through,
that still have a lot
brief
of
counseling courses.
I mean, I know I do.
And
from-
others
from my
come at
history.
different times.
So I know
at
that there are
different
times when
to realize
we have
that
those
that is a
moments,
need,
you know,
and
that it just stops us.
I truly
But we
believe
always
that God would
continue
not
to
have, I
know
want to
that
say, put
Christ
these
is there for
classes
us,
and
and
or
he's leading
counselors,
us.
biblical
And so for a
counselors,
church to
you know,
recover
together,
after such a devastating incident that
if they
happened,
didn't have
such a
important
truth,
things to help
you know,
bring
test of
us through
faith,
these
encourage,
situations.
and just showing how much y'all
And
love
some of us
God
need that
and how much God
counseling,
truly loves
I would
y'all.
say, more often than others. Because like you
One of the
said,
other things I'd
at
like to say,
different
Jim, too,
times,
that's
different
been very
situations, and some
in
of
our
us,
world today,
I would say, hesitated, and the
thought
anger
that we
will
say,
creep back up or try to creep back up
already.
The
But
counseling
is
so
can
very
can sometimes just overwhelm
you in the healing.
And so I think it's very, very important to have that person to talk to.
And others come at different
back on
times to
and
realize
hopefully back on
that
course
that is
with
a need, and
what the Bible says.
I truly
about the
believe that God would
situation.
not have, I would say, put
But
these
just to give you that
classes
outlet
and
to
or
talk.
counselors, biblical counselors,
Like I
you know,
said,
together
is our faith is first.
But yet,
if they didn't
that
have
counseling, I think, is
important
so
things
very
to help
important.
bring us
not to
through
get
these
pushed under the rug.
situations.
Not to think that, I want to say, like I said,
And some
I'm
of us
too much of
need
a
that
nurse and I know this
counseling,
already, or I'm too
more
much of a
often
man
than
and I don't
others.
need to
Because
spill
like you
my
said,
guts to
at different
anybody else.
times,
I
different
believe that we need to get, say, over that
in our world today,
and realize that
the
we
anger
are people
will
who
creep
need
back up or
people
try to creep
and
back
who
up.
need
The depression
others to help guide us
will,
when we get in spots that we
sometimes
shouldn't
just
be,
overwhelm
where
you.
God doesn't want
And
us.
so I think it's very, very important
We're
to
social
have
people.
that person to talk to.
I can't, I mean, I agree with you 100%.
Help get you
I've seen too many
back on course.
officers, police officers,
and hopefully
and I mean,
back
that's
on
something that
course
we're working
with
on right now that
what
have
the Bible
PTSD,
says about the
that
situation.
they're afraid to go to their
But just
employees
to give you
assistant
that
program
outlet
because
to
of what would
talk.
happen. But they have to understand, they're
Like I
like in this
said,
catch-22.
is our
They
faith
still have
is
to have people
first,
to talk to.
but yet
And this is
that
why I
counseling,
really
think, is
think
so
that the
very
churches need to
important and not to
support
get pushed under the
law
rug.
enforcement, is
Not to think
because a
that,
church is
I
a
wanna
place they can
say,
come and
like I
talk
said,
to.
I'm too
And
much
they
of a
can
nurse
get
and I
good
know this
counseling,
already,
because
or
there
I'm
are
too much of
people
a
in
man
Celebrate
and I don't
Recovery
need to
with what we
spill
have
my
that
guts
we would
to
be more than
anybody
willing to
else.
bring
I
somebody in
believe that we need
and
to
even
get,
be
I
able
wanna
to
say,
maybe
over that
help them go to a
and
professional.
realize that
Because a lot of times in
we
Celebrate
are
Recovery,
people
we've
who
trained people
need
and we talk
people
about, yeah,
and who
you can
need
talk to somebody about
others
marriage
to
counseling and
help
stuff like
guide
that.
us
But at a certain
when we
point,
get in
you kind
spots
of got
that
to
we
let it
shouldn't
go and
be,
let somebody else
where
take
God
over.
doesn't want us.
So you need to have those counselors
We're
also.
social people.
So I'm really happy to hear that
you all have gotten,
and I'm happy
agree
to
with
hear
you
that you
100%.
said that. Because
I've
I
seen
think
too
that's
many
one of the big
officers,
important
police
things.
officers,
And
and I
this
mean, that's
is where I'm
something that
going
we're
back
working
to
on right
churches
now
again.
that have PTSD.
We don't plan
that
for this.
they're
never
afraid to
think
go
of
to their
this.
employees
So
assistant
we really
program
need to
because
have
of what
in
would
our
happen.
phone book.
But
they have to understand.
like
They're
I
like in
said,
this
what I'm reading
catch-22.
right now,
They still
the
have to have people to
response
talk to
from everybody.
And this is why I really
that showed
think
up
that the
to help
churches
out
need
was
to
just
support.
unbelievable.
And I
Law
hope that
enforcement
part is
is
true.
because
a church is a place they can come and talk.
I know
to.
that the governor
and they can get
who
good
is also
counseling because there
paralyzed
are
showed up
people
at your
in Celebrate
son's
Recovery
hospital room
with what we have,
and
that
we
would be more
that
than
must have
willing
been
to bring
something
somebody
right there to
in
be sitting there and have
even
him
be
come
able
into
to
the
maybe
room.
help them
That
go to
was a
a
huge
professional. Because a lot of
wake-up
times in Celebrate
moment
Recovery, we've
for
trained
me.
people and we talk about, you
Because
can talk to
as a
somebody
nurse,
about
my mind went
marriage
wheeling
counseling and stuff like
down
that. But at a certain
so many
point,
directions.
you kind of got to let it go and
especially
let
since I'm
somebody
a
else
nurse
take
in the
over.
operating
So you
room.
need to have
I
those
see,
counselors also.
I'll say, kind of the
So
worst end
I'm
of,
really happy to hear that you all have gotten,
people,
and I'm happy to hear that you said that.
when
Because I
you're in
think that's one of the
surgery and
big,
then, we
important things.
fix it.
And this is where I'm
And
going back to churches
mine went
again.
wheeling
We don't
to, oh my
plan for
goodness, if
this.
he's
We
in a
never think
wheelchair,
of
he's going
this.
to have
So
pet
we
sore,
really
he's
need
going to
to
have
have
this, he's
in
going to have
our
respiratory.
phone book.
On and on and on
like
of
I
things
said,
that I've
what
seen.
I'm reading right now,
That
the
when the
response
governor wheeled
from
in, I went,
everybody
oh my goodness,
that showed
this is
up
the
to
man
help
that's
out was just
leading
unbelievable.
great state of
And I hope that
Texas,
part
and
is true.
he's in a
I hope that you
wheelchair
saw
and
that. I
doing
know that the
absolutely
governor,
fine. His brain
who is
still
also
works.
paralyzed,
His
showed
hands
up at
still
your
work,
son's
and
hospital room. And,
it's not the end.
that must have been something right there to
And
be
I
sitting
think
there
that's
and have him
something
come
very
into the room.
important to realize that was a huge,
we're never alone
wake-up moment. There is always somebody who's walked in the shoes before you have, and I think it's so important
so
to
many
directions, tell the story,
especially since I'm a
and
nurse
use
in the
those
operating
stepping
room.
stones
I
to help
see,
others get through
kind of the worst
their
end
journey
of
of people. And
well, he even made the statement, didn't
when
he,
you're in
that
surgery, and
he's
then
going to be the next, one of the future governors of the state. Didn't he say
mine
that?
went wheeling to, oh my goodness.
He did
he's
say
in a
that, but my
wheelchair,
son, after he went,
he's going to have
later
this,
when we
he's gonna
talked
have
about it,
respiratory.
he goes,
on and on
Mom,
and
I
on
hate
of things that I've
politics. I don't think I
seen.
could
But
ever.
when the governor wheeled in, I
Okay,
went,
but let
oh
me
my
ask
goodness,
you the one
this is
question.
the man that's
Is he
leading
driving
great
yet
state of
his
Texas,
race
and
car, his stock
he's
car?
in a wheelchair and doing absolutely
Not the
fine.
race
His brain
car.
still works.
Okay.
We
His hands
started
still
in
work.
go-karts.
Okay.
And
It's not the
so
end.
down low
Uh,
to the ground, so
and
he
I
can
think
get a
that's
feel
something
for
very important
how
to
his
realize
body's going to respond.
we're never alone
in these
um,
situations.
that
There is
he's
always
actually
somebody who's walked
there's a
in the
race
shoes
Friday
before
when
you
y'all
have,
come
and I
that,
think it's so important to
his brother is
tell
gonna
the
drive
story
Is
his
that right?
race
and use
car.
those stepping
Okay.
stones to
And,
help others
um,
get through
and
their
we're
journey.
still
We're
working
still working on kind of that
Well, he
inertia
even made the
and
statement, didn't he,
movement,
that
and for him to
he's going to be one of
be able to
the
have
future
some
governors of the
confidence
state. Didn't he
in
say that?
how the car's going to respond in his
He
body is gonna
did say that,
respond,
but my son, after he
before
went,
he
I
gets
will
in
say
a race
later
car.
when we talked
But
about
there's
it,
another one
he goes,
already in front of him.
Mom, I hate
if
politics.
I'm not
I don't think
mistaken,
I
is
could
that right?
ever.
There's another
okay,
race
but
car
let me
driver
ask you the
that's
one
paralyzed.
question.
Is he
Yes.
driving
Yes.
yet
Yes.
his race
Yes,
car?
Chris
stock car.
Myers. He was
Not the race car.
motorcycle
Okay.
We
racer,
started in
and he
go-karts.
flipped his
Okay.
motorcycle and went over
so
the
down low
handlebars
to
and
the
is
ground so he
paralyzed.
could get a feel for
And
how his body's
yes,
going to
he
respond.
races still today.
But he's actually,
so
like I
like I
said,
said, there's always
there's a race
somebody that's
Friday
kind of
when
walked in
y'all
the shoes
come
before
that,
you.
his
And
brother
so,
is going
yes,
to drive
Chris
his
and-
race
and my
car.
Chris
Okay.
and
talk
and converse.
we're still working
give each other
on
hints and tips and
kind of that inertia and movement.
He will probably
and for
have a
him
car
to
going here to be
pretty
able to
soon.
have some confidence
All right.
in.
Let me ask
how
Wendy if
the
there's any
car's gonna
questions out
respond
there.
and
Wendy,
his
you got any
body's gonna
questions?
respond before he gets in the race car.
I don't right
But there's another
now.
one
If
already in
anybody
front
has
of
any
him.
questions, go to the
If I'm not
Q&A.
mistaken, is that right? Did you have anything
There's
you wanted to
another
say? Race car driver that's paralyzed from the waist down?
Wendy.
Did you have
Yes.
anything?
Yes. Chris
Julie, thank you so
Myers,
much. I'm so looking
he
forward
was
to seeing you guys and meeting the rest of your family.
racer.
I'm super excited about
And
that.
He flipped his motorcycle and went over.
I'm
the
excited for
handlebars
y'all to
and
get
is
here
paralyzed.
safely through all of the COVID
yes,
stuff
he
that's
races
between here and
races
there.
still
Y'all get here
today.
safely
So, like I said,
can't
there's
wait
always
to
somebody
give
that's
y'all a
kind
big
of walked
hug.
in the shoes before
Well,
you.
we're super excited.
And so,
I
yes,
don't see any
Chris
questions
and,
coming
and
up.
my Chris talk and converse.
Does anybody
and
have any comments
give
or
each other
anything?
hints and tips, and so yeah, he will probably have a car going here pretty soon.
All right. Let me ask Wendy if there's any questions out there.
They're a
Wendy,
little
you got
shy
any
tonight.
questions? Yeah, I know. It's because I have a celebrity on the.
I
on the
don't right
webinar
now.
here,
If anybody has any questions, go to the Q&A.
I'll say sometimes
Did you have anything you
overwhelming,
wanted to
but not so much a celebrity.
Wendy.
So, Julie, one of the things that, Julie, thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys and meeting the rest of your family. And I'm super excited about that. Push out the auction and
I'm excited for y'all to get here safely through all of the
link for
the COVID stuff that's between here and there.
veterans group that's going to be helping. So I'm going to make sure that we do maybe some Facebook Lives as well on our Facebook page, and so we're super excited. All that stuff. And so I don't see any questions coming up. Give me all that stuff when we get there and show off some of that stuff. Does anybody have any comments or anything? Hopefully we'll get some long distance some bidders too.
Okay, good deal.
That would sound great.
All right.
I'm
they're a little shy tonight.
Yeah, I know. It's because I have a celebrity on the webinar here. You know?
And James Shoemaker did make a comment. He said, "This is an excellent podcast."
Sometimes overwhelming, but
so thank you so much, James, for saying that. We appreciate that.
Yes.
So, Julie, one of the things that we do have one of the things that I want to do is I want to be able to push out the
support around
and so
from your
push out the auction and
that we did, because that's what I truly believe.
Link for the
I'm gonna say has got
veterans group that's going to be helping. So I'm going to make sure that we do maybe some Facebook Lives as well on our Facebook page, and so make sure we link all that stuff. And so I'm sure either you or Chris could give me all that stuff when we get there and show off some of that stuff and start. And hopefully we'll get some long distance some bidders too.
Okay.
We have Paul, he's down in, I think, the Venice area. Amazing and tragic story. Thank you so much for sharing it. So touched by your son's realization that God can use even this. And James Shoemaker did make a comment. He said, "This is an excellent podcast." So thank you so much, James, for saying that. Sharing, we appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully you won't have to walk
people in different parts of the country, Julie, that we're sharing this with. And I know Wednesday nights are kind of
around you from your community.
Rough. I know we pulled you out of church too.
We did, because that's
we were playing games tonight. Games in church, but that's part of family and fellowship.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Showing one
and so we're going to put this out on our
being there
in
to
our
help one
library,
another, offering your hands or whatever God has provided
any questions going
help
forward,
your fellow man,
of course,
help
we'll
your
reach out to you
fellow,
and stuff too.
bring them down.
But I am super excited about this weekend, so this is going to be so much fun. We have Paul, he's down in, I think, the Venice area. Amazing and tragic story. Thank you so much for sharing it. So touched by your son's realization that God can use even this for His glory. Facebook, I'll do some Facebook Live showing off some of the auction stuff, and then Ron George, thank you for sharing, and God bless. And, super excited. Oh, John Perone, to people in different parts of the country, Julie, that we're sharing this with. And I know Wednesday nights are kind of, it's amazing to hear that all of this stuff. I know we pulled you out of church too. So,
we were playing games tonight.
On a positive side,
games in church, but that's part of family and fellowship.
There you go. God can take tragedy. And so we're going to put this out on our do so much in our library, and all we've ever other people can see it later and share. So
that's been the ongoing theme throughout this whole time that I've met you.
But I am super excited about this weekend, so this is going to be so much fun.
It's all about how God's presence is always around.
And I do not see anything
when
else.
I hear you talk about it, because even in the tragedy,
I got your message with your with our links, and we're going to get everything out on Facebook. I'll do some Facebook Live.
It would break a lot of
some
people.
of the auction stuff.
I mean, I know how it affected
we'll
me, and I wasn't even in the same scenario you were. But I
super excited. Oh, John Perone.
I admire y'all so
I was
much
at the last
conference
that Tuna Security Allies had where
build
you
another
spoke. It's
church
amazing to hear that all of this has happened. Let me make sure I get all of that.
This. Just you being here tonight, and like I said,
on
right
a positive side since
hope.
then, that's story. I mean, all of the, God can take tragedy and turn it around, and do so much.
I'll say for those that
all we've ever heard from
the depression and the anger, and I'm not to say that we haven't been there, but you can't stay there
throughout this whole time that I've met you.
God doesn't want us in those places, although He says, He gave us those emotions, therefore, we can have them.
Talk about it,
but we don't stay there.
Even in the tragedy,
because He's promised us a life
of
abundantly,
and I don't think a lot of people.
Of joy.
It would break a lot of people.
So it's how we perceive it.
And I wasn't even in the same.
What are we going to do with these things that are thrown at us by man?
I admire y'all so much.
It even says in Genesis. What did Joseph say in Genesis?
To build another
what
church,
man meant to harm me, God means for good and the saving of others' lives.
Just you being here tonight, and like I said,
if
right
we
behind you is a
believe
sign that
those
says hope.
little trinkets and nuggets of truth
that's
throughout
what
the
Christ
Bible,
is all about.
then we're going to see our tragic events through a different set of eyes. I'll say for those that, the depression and the anger, and I'm not to say that we haven't been there, but you can't stay there. Oh, poor pitiful me, and God doesn't want us others places, although He says, what can I do with this time? He gave us those emotions, therefore, we can have them. What can I do? But we don't stay there with the skills that God's given me. He's promised us a life abundantly through it, and a life of joy, an incredible. So it's how we perceive it.
John,
what are we going
to
do with these things that are
say a little bit more? He said that he was at the conference.
It even says in Genesis.
He says that
what
he was
did Joseph
tears
say
hearing
in
you speak at the
Genesis?
conference.
What man meant to
we often
harm
don't
me,
hear
God
the recovery
means
and
for
blessings
good
that
and the
come from
saving
tragedies,
of others'
and it's amazing to
lives.
hear it. So
And
thank you for continuing to share your story and what God has done for everyone
nuggets
since.
of truth throughout the Bible, then we're going to see.
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go back and play your
games through a different
fellowship
set of
with
eyes.
your friends. But we'll be seeing you real soon.
What's going on today with the COVID and the jobs and the shutdown,
look,
we can
I'm
look at it
so
and
excited
say,
about coming out because I finally get to meet your family. I get to meet those that I've heard so much about.
Look at, what can I do with this time?
It's just, and I get to see what
can I do
is really all about.
With the skills that God's given me and move
what I see
forward
in
through
y'all,
it.
And it, like I said, I'm just so excited about it. I can't wait to be there. I can't wait to be there. So.
It will be here
John continued to say a little bit more. He said that he was at the conference, and
we're super excited.
He said that he was in tears.
So we'll touch base with you on Friday.
We often
don't
closer
to your area, and we're looking forward to seeing you.
And it's amazing
All
to hear it.
Sounds great.
Thank you for continuing to share your story and what God has done for everyone.
Thank you, Julie. Be blessed.
Yes, be safe and be blessed. We'll see you soon.
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go back and play your games.
Right, bye-bye.
Fellowship with your friends. But we'll be seeing you real soon. Real quick, I appreciate everybody that's out there. I just want to run through
just a couple of little
I'm
things.
I'm so excited about coming
We
out.
probably will not
because I
have a
finally get to meet your
Thursday
family.
training
I get to meet
next
those
week,
that I've heard so much
but
about.
we will be doing our Facebook
And,
Live, and we're going to be doing it
it's
from
just
Texas.
and
So
I get to see
please come out
what
on Sunday night
hope is really
and
all about.
and see what we got
It's
out there.
because
We're really
it's
excited about
what I
being
see
out
in
there.
y'all. And it, like I said, I'm just so
I
excited.
just
about it.
wanted
I
to pull
can't-
this
I
up.
can't
So,
wait
like
to
I
be there.
said,
I can't wait
Facebook
to be
Live
there.
on Sunday
So-
night.
We'll be here soon.
We will
I'm
be
glad
there.
to.
We'll have my phone like
Glad
when
to
we
show
first
you
got
all of
started,
it.
and I'll be talking.
All right.
Maybe I can get a
We're
couple of
super
people to
excited.
come over
So we'll
and
touch
chat
base
with
with
us
you
while
on
this
Friday
is going
as
on.
we're getting closer to your
Please
area.
go out and look
we're
at our
looking forward
other
to seeing you.
resources
All right,
that we
sounds
have.
great. Sounds great.
We're going to try to
Blessings
get this
until
up
then.
on our YouTube
Thank
page.
you, Julie.
So,
Yes,
of course,
All right.
continue to
if
be
you're
blessed.
here
We'll
with
see you
us tonight,
soon.
it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
But for
bye-bye.
those that didn't
Right,
get to see
bye-bye.
it, they'll be able to come out and find this.
All right.
We
Just
also,
real quick,
of course,
I
I
appreciate
appreciate everybody
free
that's out
resources on our
there.
Train
I just
Security
want to run
Allies
through
page,
just a couple of
where
little
you can go.
things.
These are pull downs to talk
We
about the
probably
different-
will not have a
different,
Thursday training next week,
lessons that we
but
do.
we will be doing our Facebook Live, and we're
then,
going to be doing
of
it
course,
from Texas. So
membership.
please come out
I'll just
on Sunday
go through this
night
real quick, $125 a
and
month,
see what
or
we got
online
out there.
membership.
We're really excited
We've
about
extended this, like I
being
said,
out there
until the end
and
of July. But weekly online
I
training.
just wanted
and
to pull this
access to
up.
video
So, like I
training
said,
libraries.
Facebook
And
Live
then also
on Sunday
we have,
night.
tickets to
We will be there.
You'll get a ticket to the
I'll
safety
have my
conference.
phone like
and then
when
we
first
have
got
training
started,
also
and I'll be
donations.
talking.
We appreciate
Maybe
it.
I can get a couple of
If
people
you are
to come over
carrying,
and,
you need
and
some
chat
sort of
with us
protection. I
while
just
this is
cannot
going
say this
on.
enough.
USCCA.
Please go out
You
and
should
look
go
at
check
our
them
other
out. They're a great organization.
resources
They're
that
going to
we
be at our
have.
conference this year. We're really looking
We're
forward
going
to
try to
this.
get this up
So
on our
please
YouTube
go out and
page.
check them out. They have a lot of good training
course,
information.
If you're
Some
here
really
with
good
us
stuff,
tonight, it really
make
doesn't
sure that
matter.
you go out.
But for
and-
those that didn't get to see it,
look at it,
they'll be able to come out and
thank
find
you
this.
again for coming out. I want to thank
we also,
Julie
of course,
again,
have our free resources
for her
on our
taking her
Train
time
Security Allies,
and coming out and talking about
page,
recovery.
where you can go.
This
These
is
are
something
pull
that
downs
is
that talk
so
about the
important.
different. We need to make
different,
sure that
everybody understands
lessons
this.
that we do.
If you could,
And
I
then,
really would
of
appreciate
course,
that
you
pray for
membership.
us as we go travel.
Just go through this real
I'm riding
quick.
with Wendy and the two
$125 a
girls
month,
in
or
the truck,
online membership.
We've extended this, like I
prayers,
said,
but
until
we're
the
excited
end of
about this.
July.
But
Just
weekly
to kind of
online
finish up a
training
little bit,
and access to
what
video
else we're going to
training
do.
libraries.
Once we
And
get
then
finished,
also, going
we
to
have
Sutherland Spring,
tickets to the safety.
we're going to go
You'll,
up to
you'll
Glen
get
Rose,
a
Texas.
ticket to the safety
Now, this
conference.
is where my
And then
life
we have
started.
training and
This is
also
where my
donations.
story
We
kind of
appreciate
really
it.
started.
If you are
And we've
carrying,
just
you
finished,
need some
the
sort of
book.
protection. I just cannot say
We will
this
be
enough.
talking about that
USCCA.
later. We've got to go
You should go check them out. They're a great
they've got to proof it,
organization.
do all the
They're going to
editing
be
and
at
all
our
that other good
conference
stuff
this
that
year.
they
We're
do.
really looking forward
And
to
then
this.
we're going to start talking
So
about
please
putting it
go
out.
out, check them
But we
out. They
did
have a
finish
lot of
the
good
book.
training information. Some
We're
really good
calling
stuff.
it,
Prodigal
Make Sure
Son,
That You
the
Go
Prophetic
Out
Warrior,
or
and
God's
look
Unseen
at it.
Plan.
So
Thank you again for coming out. I want to thank
that'll be
Julie
more
again
information
for
as
what
we go
for
along.
her taking her
We'll be
time
coming out about
coming
that,
out and talking
but it
about
talks about
recovery.
how I got
This is
from
something that is
a
so
shooting in
important. We need to
September
make sure
of
that
everybody
1970,
understands
50 years
this.
ago this September.
If you
to where
could,
we
I
are
really would
today.
appreciate
So
that
we'll
you
be
pray
we'll
for
be
us
talking
as we
about
go
that
travel.
and having it out there real soon.
I'm riding with Wendy and the two girls.
If there's
in the
nothing
truck,
else,
and I'm just going to
I'm
close
gonna
real
need
quick.
the prayers, but
We are excited about this.
please be safe out
Just
here.
to kind of
Please
finish
be
up a little bit
blessed.
what else
Just
we're going to do.
understand that
Once
God
we
loves
get
you
finished,
and
going
that
to
we
Sutherland
love you.
Springs,
And if
we're
there's
gonna go up to
anything we
Glen
can
Rose,
do,
Texas,
please reach
this
out.
is where
and
my
let us
life
know.
started. This
This
is
is
Jim
where
Howard,
my
Wendy
story
Howard
kinda
with Train
really
Security
started.
Allies, and we've just finished the book.
Take care. Be blessed.
We will be talking about that later. We've got to go through and they've got to proof it and do all the editing and all that other good stuff that they do. And then we're going to start talking about putting it out. But we did finish the book. We're calling it Prodigal Son, the Prophetic Warrior, or God's Unseen Plan. So we're excited about that. That'll be more information as we go along. We'll be coming out about that. But it talks about how I got from a shooting in September of 1970, 50 years ago, this September, to where we are today. So we'll be talking about that and having it out there real soon. If there's nothing else, I'm just going to close real quick. Please be safe out here. Please be blessed. Just understand that God loves you and that we love you. And if there's anything we can do, please reach out and let us know. This is Jim Howard and Wendy Howard with Train Security Allies. Take care. Be blessed.